Hey everyone, welcome back to Brainly Lab, where we make science simple and fun. In today's video, we're talking about ions, what they are, how they form, and why they're so important in chemistry. What are ions? To understand ions, let's start with atoms. Atoms are made up of three particles: protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons are positively charged, electrons are negatively charged, and neutrons have no charge. In a neutral atom, the number of protons equals the number of electrons. That means their charges balance out, so the atom has no overall charge. But sometimes atoms gain or lose electrons. When that happens, the balance between protons and electrons changes, and the atom becomes charged. That's when we call it an ion. So an ion is a charged atom or group of atoms. There are two main types of ions: cations and anions. Let's break that down. Cations are positively charged ions. They form when an atom loses electrons. Since electrons are negative, losing them leaves the atom with a more positive charge. You will notice that cations are mostly metals. Metals lose electrons to attain stability and acquire a positive charge in the process. For example, sodium has one electron in its outer shell. It easily loses that electron to become Na+, a sodium ion. On the other hand, anions are negatively charged ions. They form when atoms gain electrons. More electrons mean more negative charge. Notice that anions are mostly nonmetals. Nonmetals gain electrons to achieve stability. In doing so, they acquire a negative charge. For example, chlorine gains one electron to become Cl-, a chloride ion. Why do ions form? Atoms form ions to achieve stability. Most atoms want to have a full outer shell of electrons, usually 8, known as the octet rule. When sodium loses one electron and chlorine gains one, both achieve stable outer shells, just like noble gases. This makes the resulting ions much more stable ionic compounds. Now here's where things get interesting. Positive and negative ions attract each other through electrostatic forces, forming ionic bonds. These bonds create ionic compounds like sodium chloride or table salt. In NaCl, sodium donates its electron to chlorine. Both become stable, and their opposite charges pull them together, forming a solid crystal lattice. That's why ionic compounds have high melting points and form strong, rigid structures. Ionic compounds are formed from ionic bonds between metals and nonmetals, which are mostly positively and negatively charged, respectively. Now let's look at real-life examples of ions. Ions are everywhere. In water, substances like salt dissolve into ions, sodium plus and chloride minus, allowing water to conduct electricity. In your body, ions like K+, Na+, Ca2+, and Cl- are essential for nerve signals and muscle contractions. Even in batteries, ions move between electrodes to generate an electric current. Let's summarize what we have learned today. Ions are charged atoms or groups of atoms. Cations lose electrons and become positive. Anions gain electrons and become negative. They form to achieve stable outer shells. Ionic compounds form when cations and anions attract. For today's quiz, try to write the ionic form of calcium hydroxide. The answer will be in the comment section. And that's it. You now understand ions. In the next video, we'll explore ionic bonding in more detail and see how to write ionic formulas. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Brainy Lab, and turn on the bell so you don't miss future chemistry lessons.